I like that you smile at yourself for later. Hey, me. Looking good, me.
Hey, old me.
Like our martini glasses. I just feel like it would be too much, like...
Were those meant to be in martini?
It's a martini. It's meant to serve in the round martini glasses.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
called like a
goblet or something? I mean, it looks like a goblet.
There's a name for it. It's like a coupe.
Oh. I'm not that
like
French.
That. We have little like ridges around them so you can grip it.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to be served in
Grip
a chilled
it and rip it, brother.
Yeah. Get that honey, grip it and rip it. we serve one at work.
You only grip it and rip it when you have a $120 bottle of Gold Reserve.
Yeah, you got the Gold Reserve honey. They're not selling these anywhere around here. You have to order a $45 martini, please.
Why is it so expensive?
This is the most bougie drink we've had.
It's the honey. We ship the bees over to Sakura, Japan, so they can just eat.
They get massages from the Kobe guys. Little
This is Kobe honey.
Kobe honey.
We feed them beer and massage their little wings.
Yeah. The little Japanese ladies like in Mothra, like lifting the wings.
Like picking saffron stems out of them.
We get the pollen off of you.
Cheers and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general.
Drinking.
I'm Paxton, and that is Clint.
How you doing?
What are we drinking today?
We're drinking a bee's knees.
How about that? I wonder why it's
Cheers.
called the bee's knees.
Because it is the bee's knees.
We've got this very, very expensive bottle of Tupelo
This
Gold
drink
Reserve
is brought to
honey.
you by Savannah Bee Company. Shay Knight, good looking out, my boy. Cheers.
It's really
again.
good. And
Jason, thank you so much.
The thing is, I don't like gin, but there's gin in this.
There
it's a
is.
botanical gin.
I got Uncle Val's Botanical Gin. I made a honey syrup by cooking down this exquisite honey with a little bit of water to make a little honey syrup.
Did you feel like scared to do it? Like you're like, all right, this is $40 worth of material I'm pouring into a pot right now.
I was very, very careful about it. Like I got every little bit out of it, and like what was left, I took like a piece of a Cliff Bar and rubbed that around the pot just to get all that good. I was like, ooh, a $6 Cliff Bar. So yeah, it's the Uncle Val's Botanical Gin. This incredibly exquisite bottle of honey.
Yeah.
And squeeze. I bought organic lemons because we gotta go.
Of course.
And it's meant to be in a martini glass with a twist, but we don't roll that
Here
way.
at this house, here at this podcast studio.
Yeah.
Glasses don't last long.
No, it's not
especially if they have stems.
There's
on
a stem. Ooh.
We're fucked.
We'd come back from the break with just one with a stem and one without a stem.
I'd be in a plastic cup. I'd be in a red Solo cup at the end of the fucking halfway through the first segment.
Just drinking it out of the honey bottle.
Just mix it in with the rest of the honey.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? We bougie.
But yeah, the bee's knees, a cocktail created in the 1921 by Frank Mir, not the fighter Frank Mir.
So not cauliflower ear Frank Mir.
No, not cauliflower ear Frank Mir. A half Jewish bartender. He was the first bartender at the Ritz in Paris in 1921.
Oh, gotcha.
First head bartender, and he created the bee's knees.
And I bet that's the way they talk back in there. Like, hey, buddy, let's do the backseat buggy after we have a few bee's knees.
Yes, in Paris. That's exactly how they talk.
Let us have the bee's knees, the backyard boogie.
I bet the honey was good, though. I bet they had some fire honey back then.
Oh, you like my honey?
Yes, this is that post-World War I honey. It's got a little taste of shrapnel to it.
It tastes like hatred.
You can smell the flamethrower.
Follow us on our social medias. If you want to watch us on YouTube, it's Paxton Eugene. Search that, and all the From Behind the Barcast stuff will come up. We'd like for you to email us any of your Karens or Darrens of the week at frombehindthebarcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, From Behind the Barcast, Instagram at From Behind the Barcast. La-da-da. Leave us a fucking message on Anchor if you feel like doing that. But first, you weren't sure, because I don't like gin.
Yeah, you made it well known the first
yeah.
time I had when we did the what was the anti scurvy cocktail.
Fuck, I'll never remember now that you said it.
The gimlets.
The gimlets,
we did
yeah,
the gimlets, which is traditionally a gin cocktail. Paxton was like,
yeah.
I don't like gin, so we did it with vodka. So we made plans for maybe this didn't work out.
Right, yeah, we would, just a little, now I forget the fucking word.
A little backup plan.
Yeah. So I go to the fucking liquor store to get the backup vodka. So I was like, I'll try something new. And I saw this Chopin vodka.
Oh, I love Chopin. That's one of my favorite, dirty martini vodkas.
Oh, see, so I was making the right choice. It was just I'd never seen it before, and it was like reasonably priced or whatever.
It's potato vodka.
So I'm in, it's Polish. So I'm in line, and there's this fucking lady in front of me. and she's probably pushing like 200 pounds, and she's with her mother, it looks like. So she's probably like early 30s, and then, her mom or whatever. Very stank looking, and her giant fucking shirt had like a tiny little American flag on it.
Just a little bit of America.
Yeah, so she had room for all of the for a few states on there. She could have kept Hawaii and fucking Alaska in there too, probably.
Real size.
But so behind the counter is a teenager. I mean, if he was 21, I'd be super fucking surprised. And this is a like a local, like a locally owned thing.
Like a family owned.
Yeah, family owned thing. Yeah, it's not like a fucking ABC or some fucking national chain, right? So it's literally this fucking 19-year-old looking kid who kind of has he looks like he's seen some shit. Like
he probably has in the last couple of weeks up there.
Fucking summertime on Tybee, people going in there, whatever. So this fucking lady, she goes, "Y'all got military discount
at a liquor store?"
And he goes, no, ma'am, no, I'm sorry, we don't. I wish, She goes, "Yeah, well, y'all should." And I was like, so I was looking, and I was like, this bitch ain't never been to basic training.
She doesn't sound like
she ain't never jumped
training.
out of a plane.
She's done nothing.
So I was like,
She could have been a cook, maybe. I don't know.
So I learned this on Reddit, but they're called dependas.
Okay.
It's like military wives or something like that. So they'll have shirts that say like, "You will address me by my husband's rank."
Oh, lovely. That
so
sounds great.
I'm getting the feeling that that there's some fucking sad fucking military guy out there that has to deal with this fucking bitch all the time, and she's trying to get a military discount
just because her husband's in the military.
Yeah, which like,
and he keeps asking for extra tours to stay away from her.
Or whatever.
Please don't make me go home to her.
But like, you know what? When I see dudes come up to my bar and like I know that they're in the military and they're like young men and like it's like and they're not fucking douchebags. They're like. Typically, they ask, they're like, do y'all do like a military discount or whatever? And we don't. But if the dude's like, if he seems like a legit fucking dude, I'll be like, how about this? I'll buy you a beer. Thank you for your service.
There you go.
Like, we don't do like, all 10% or something
10%,
like that.
right, yeah.
But I'll be like, here, I'll buy you a shot or something like that. But for some fucking fat, big-ankled fucking twat lady to go in there expecting it and being like, well, y'all should. And I was like, do military wives have military IDs?
They do, so they can get on base. I had a customer ask me that this week, and he hasn't been in the military in a long time because he had his Vietnam vet hat on.
Classic.
And I walked up to go, "Sir, will you take your hat off, please?" And I didn't have to ask him because he removed it when I walked to the table. "Thank you, sir."
Nice.
And he was a lot of older people will be like, "I don't need any water." And I'm like, "But I'm pretty sure your doctor's been telling you for a while to drink more water." So I'm like, "All right, cool." And then I'll bring them water. Be like, "I don't need that." I'm like, just in case." And they'll always drink at least a little bit.
Sip
and
of
I feel
it,
better about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right, you've had a few sips of water." But he's like, "Do y'all do a military discount?" I'm like, "No, sir." He's like, "Huh." I'm like, "Well, we're a French restaurant and we're not really good at military stuff." And he got a kick out of that. So
oh, they're good. See,
yeah.
No, see, because you would think he'd be like, "Ha."
No, he was pretty.
He's a sport about it.
You see the guys that have the Vietnam vet hat on with like their
It's got their rank and then it's got like some leaves on it or
and
whatever.
It's super flat brim.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With a little rope around it.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he puts it in the back seat of his car and the back window so when he's driving, so you know.
Oh, of course. See that, and then on the polarity, on the opposite side of that, when you were talking about giving him the water, what it made me think of is there's people that come in, they're like, "I need water right now."
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I'd love to give you water. And that water will fucking sit there undrank for the rest of their fucking time.
Sweating everywhere. There's no ice left in it.
It's so weird. The people that want the water the worst, you know what I mean? That are just like, seriously, before you do anything, I need water.
And then they take one sip and that's it.
Never touch it for the rest of their fucking time there.
It's like their friend was like, when you get here, you got to get a water.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, hey, I got to get a water. I can't drink or Sheila's not going to fuck me later.
And then she's like, sip. Is that good?
Like,
is that good enough?
The Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
This is what humans do.
This is how humans drink water.
That was quite an interesting little caveat there, Mark Zuckerberg. Not that we don't like Mark Zuckerberg.
Hey, Mark, you're great, man.
Yeah,
don't kick
Facebook,
us
off.
Woo! So last Tuesday, man, I thought the summer was over because we talked about it on the podcast 2 weeks ago when I went in on a Saturday, ready for fucking Bedlam.
Yeah,
again.
last Saturday you were pretty slow.
Yeah, and I walked in and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking weird. Like, it's a chill Saturday night. Later on it got kind of busy, whatever. But so anyways, the following Tuesday, which was last Tuesday, we recorded on Monday nights. I walked into fucking work, And it was like a fucking, and I was working inside bar this time. It was like a fucking Saturday night at 5 o'clock.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. The day after school started.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Right?
thinking. School just started.
So the
At least in
crowd,
most places.
so the crowd was like, it was a lot of people I didn't recognize, whatever. But there's this couple sitting there, probably like late 20s maybe, and like good-looking people, seemed to be pretty well put together, and they're having a good time. And when we were doing the changeover, they're like, "Are you the new guy?" I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting in there. Like, "What's up, man? I'm so-and-so. Nice to meet you." Like, super affable. It was amazing. Like, I was like, I was like, all right, that's a good first couple to walk in.
I have that in my notes, like how the first customer can really make your night go way better. Like I've had, like on Thursday, my first 3 tables, I was like, God, I'm gonna have a good night now. Like,
I love that.
Everyone's been amazing. That will change, obviously. But
Yeah, of course, yeah. But yeah, so that it kind of does set like your sort of attitude towards the night or whatever, right? So that's absolutely true. So then they're cool for a second. Some of it clears out, because like some people, even if they weren't planning on leaving at like 5, whenever the shift changed, whenever they start, whenever the daytime's like, hey, I'm going to close, I'm leaving, I'm going to close out. Like, 40% of the people are like, oh, you know what? We might as well go now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we already closed out, whatever. And closing out is going to be a part of my Darren later. But so about 10 minutes, 15 minutes go by. And the guy was like, "Hey man, could we get?" And this is the first thing they ordered from us. I had no idea how long they had been there. Later, I found out they had been there for like 4 hours at that point.
Oh,
they were still
damn.
put together right then.
Okay, good for them. Good for them.
So they asked for a shot. I was like, "Yeah, what you want?" And they took like tequila or something. And I took a shot with them because I was like, "All right, it's fucking, hey,
I love you guys. I don't know you.
we're
What's
cool."
up?
So they take the shot. Each of their voices go up about 10 decibels after that.
Okay.
So now that
Was it my sister?
I didn't. she starts at 11.
All thunder and lightning.
So then my Hunter, my buddy Hunter, he's
Which Hunter?
Huckapoo's
Hunter.
Huckapoo's Hunter,
Okay.
the strapping young lad with the pretty eyes and the long hair,
Yeah,
the tall drink of water. Well, they take a real good shine to him. They're like, what's the blonde guy's name? And I was like, his name is Hunter. Why don't you holler at him? Whatever, right? He can't walk anywhere in the vicinity without them going, Hunter, let's do a shot. They never knew my name. They never asked it. Or actually, they asked it, and I pretended like I didn't hear them or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like a fucking parrot. The only word they know is Hunter.
But they get hammered.
So they're just like, hey,
it's a safety word.
Hunter!
Hey, Hunter!
So Hunter, like, he's an affable dude as well. So he's like chilling. So they're like,
Real
Hunter!
easy going, yeah.
They're like, Hunter, let's do a shot. And he's like, all right, yeah. So over the next like 30 minutes, they take like 3 more shots.
Uh-oh.
So the guy is sort of like, you can tell he's winding down. The girlfriend is just complete 1,000-yard stare. So
At Hunter?
no, yeah, she might have been staring at the fucking nebulous center of the cosmos for all I fucking know.
Okay.
I don't fucking know. So I closed them out, right? So then a couple minutes go by, and her head is drifting slower and slower down to the bar. The dude goes, "Hey, man, I need to close out." I was like, "Hey, man, I just closed you out."
Yeah, yeah.
So I walk away. I come back, and he's staring bullets at me. He's like, "I have to close out, man." I was like, "Brother, I closed you out." So
They must have paid cash.
no, he paid with a credit card. This is how.
Nice.
And now let me tell you how long in the past that he had paid out, and the 4 times he asked me to close him out again. Let me explain how much time passed between there. So our credit card slips, we stack them on top of each other, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, "What's your fucking name?" He's got his card in his hand, by the way. I'm like, "You already whatever." I was like, "What's your name?" He was like, "Fucking Herbert L. Hudson" or some shit, whatever. So I go into the credit card slips. He's 20 back. We've closed out.
It's been a long time.
We've closed
Herbert
out
has
20.
been there for a while.
And I pick it up and I show it to him with his signature and no tip, by the way. It was like a fucking.
Oh, no.
I was like, "Is this you?" He goes, "Yeah, I need to close out."
At that point, you know what? Here, $3.
I was like, "Are you?" And then, as soon as that's going down, and I'm like, "There's nothing witty I can say because he's too drunk to understand anything." The lady next to them goes, "Oh my God!" His girlfriend has just thrown up on her foot.
Oh, on the woman's foot?
The woman next to them's foot. So the guy who's trying to close out 100 times.
And it's like 7:30.
It is 6:30.
Oh, nice.
On a Tuesday.
That's a good puke on someone's foot day of the week. Tuesday
The
at 6:30.
lady was super cool about it or whatever.
Man, I am not.
So I was like, God damn it. I was like, please get her out of here. You know, whatever. So he's trying to walk her out. And I was like, Hunter, you are cleaning up that vomit. He goes, oh, man, I can't fucking do that. So then Rachel, the girl that I work with, she goes, hey, Hunter, remember your birthday and you actually vomited on me and I had to clean it up both times?
Oh, get him.
It's your turn now. He was like, God damn it, man.
Your Hunter impression is almost as good as your Temple Grandin impression.
He walks over and goes, man. He goes, how am I supposed to do this? I was like, get a picture of what, like, inside of our bar, if you don't know Huckapoos, it's like wooden slats.
Wasn't that side filled in, though?
No, it's not filled.
On the other side of the bar. They're on Tybee's side of the bar?
No, they were on the
okay.
Because
the other side, didn't Eric cover that side in?
Yeah, some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So
to keep that, whatever that wafting up through the cracks were.
So Hunter's over there. I was like, this is fucking justice. They're like, you did those shots with them and you fucking.
Yeah, they loved you. Come on. Those are your best friends. Herbert and you go way back now.
So then the lady was like, could we just get our food to go? I was like, yeah, I'm so fucking sorry, man. And so I was like, Tuesday, this is how it starts. So like, just like you were saying, like it says
went
the
from
press.
To,
I mean, it worked out. Like it was a fun night overall after that, but good.
Yeah, because my Thursday where it was like, it was the Vietnam couple, and then two other tables.
Those were your first
table, and they were all nice and great. And I was like, oh, everybody was so sweet. I had like a 5-top. It was going to turn into a 7-top, or no, 9-top.
Yep.
So I got to get the 5-top out in time. They're cool. All right, this is going great. I'm going to enjoy this night. And then the next round is they're a German family. And they were like half German, half like it was like two brothers, I guess.
German descent or visiting from Germany?
Half visiting, half German descent. Like,
Gotcha.
It's like it was two brothers. One moved over here, one didn't. And so the one moved over here has got a son that sits at the head of the table. He is 15, 16. Unfortunately, they sit down. And I'm like, oh, we're out of steaks. And the kid's like, excuse me? And I'm like, I'm not used to the child approaching me with questions. So I'm like, yeah, we're out of steaks. He goes, well, steak tartare. I'm like, we got that. And so I'm like, and I start doing the specials, and he starts interrupting. I'm like, hey, let me finish. I'm going to get somewhere, and then we can ask questions. So I do all the specials. He goes, so y'all have lamb? I'm like, nope, didn't mention any lamb. He's like, what about this? And I'm like, so I have everything on the menu except for steaks. And the grouper that I mentioned is a special. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
He's like, so no lamb. And I like look at who I think is his dad, and I'm like, point at him like, what the hell is this kid doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, kind of shrugs. I'm like, no, man, nothing else. No more questions from you. And the two girls next to him that weren't related to him started giggling. So I get everybody's order, put it in, I bring bread out. I put the bread down, and this little shit reaches for the bread immediately, and I smack his hand. I go, no, ladies go first, and you'll go a lot longer in life. And his mom goes, we've been trying to tell him that. We're trying to tell him that. And then her husband's like, yes, we've been trying to tell him that. Like, she's country as shit, and he is
I was about to say, is she a country ass?
She's country. She's married to the one that lived here. So that's why the kid's a shit, because he's a little American shit.
Yeah.
So he's got his mama's shitting him. And
you would think the Germans would be disciplinarians.
I think Mama wore the trousers. Mama wore the trousers. But
Mama wore the proverbial
when I
trousers.
popped that hand, though, everybody was like, ooh,
nice.
I got him. And like, I bring the big pepper grinder over to him, and the kid's like, damn, that thing's huge. I was like, one day you'll say the same. Like, they're eating this up now. They're eating it up now. And then,
because the pepper grinder can be intimidating. Some people don't like it.
It was his height almost. And so food comes out. We have a dish we have a bouillabaisse, French dish. It used to come with a thing called a roux, which is kind of like a tartar sauce fucked to mayonnaise. It's a little spicy. We served it for 6 months with this dish, and 99% of the time, no one ate it. So we just quit giving it out, but it still says roux on the menu. And until my Karen came in at another time, this was going to be my Karen/Darren of the week, but way overshadowed. This woman goes, oh, you forgot the roux. And I'm like, this is the Russian couple that's from Russia. And I'm like, oh,
German?
It's not. It's a German couple, sorry, that's from Germany. And I said, it was almost Russia. And I said, no, ma'am, we don't serve that anymore because nobody liked it. And her husband's like, well, did you have to take it off the menu? I'm like, well, we're not going to reprint menus just for one.
So you just don't carry it at all? I thought so.
We don't have it, period.
Oh, okay.
Because no one ever,
Yeah, that is true.
It, so why keep it?
You should take it off the menu.
So, well, here's the thing. Yeah. We have nice, fancy menus. They got a lot of, graphics around the side.
Sure.
They're $8 a piece.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to reprint menus to reprint 60 menus for one thing. Now, there's one other thing on the menu that's incorrect.
And you don't want to take a Sharpie to something that looks nice like that.
So I vocalize the other thing, like the foie gras change. I vocalize it every table.
Yeah.
But like the Rui, I just kind of forget about it. And I'm like, well, we're not going to reprint menus just for this one item. And the guy's like, well, you have to, though. That is the way it goes. I'm like, it's not the way it goes. He goes, why not? I'm like, there was just a pandemic. We're broke. He's like, oh. And as soon as I said money, he was like, okay. And he got quiet. I was like, oh.
Wow,
right,
that's
thanks.
a strange dynamic to have. Like, think about like the German sensibility from like, being from Germany,
being very frugal, very direct.
Sure, yeah, but very like not disciplinarian, but like stoic and focused and hardworking
Clean.
or clean. Yeah, like that whole aesthetic because like. The reason they were so good and still are so good at most any engineering type thing that they do is because of work ethic and because their parents trained them to, number one, be stoic. It's almost like they're the same as the Japanese in that way, I think.
Well, I thought they would be. I know there's a sense of frugality in Germans because of Sophia and my buddy Max I lived with.
Yeah.
Like they were very frugal because after World War II, they were broke as shit.
Fuck yeah.
They had and after World War I, which is what led to the.
And they were out of materials, like building materials, like
so
metal.
Like, they wouldn't have
like
reprinted menus then, so why do I got to do it now?
Right. So you get.
I'm glad that worked on them. Can't you owe us that?
Yeah.
I couldn't bring that up. But I feel like it would have been fair to be like, hey man, you know why we can't?
So that's a funny dynamic. Like, is he strict German Faza, and then like the country Southern mother, which can be just as strict of a disciplinarian as any fucking
like I said,
body.
she wore the trousers.
But if the kid was acting like a jerk, but and then were you right about who the dad was whenever he first?
Yeah. Not at first, but I was eventually.
Okay, right.
So the two girls that were there were friends, so it was like I couldn't gather the family. I didn't ask.
You were trying, but you were trying. You were trying to figure it out.
Two girls and him were not related.
Okay, I got you.
The young smart-ass boy. So he was trying to impress one of the girls.
Were they about the same age as him?
Yeah, they were all about the same age.
Gotcha.
It was funny because like he was trying to impress girl. He was trying to impress girl B, and girl C was trying to impress him. So he wasn't going to get none of this, and she wasn't going to get none of that.
And he wasn't noticing girl C.
No, she was over there like, I'm going to graduate after next year. And she was trying. I just heard her throughout the meal trying to impress him.
I might go get my master's.
And him trying to impress. Oh, she meant high school, buddy.
Oh, damn.
So he was trying to impress the other girl who didn't want nothing to do with him, and I was like,
"That's great,
cute little dynamic
That's great.
here."
That's great.
And once like the dinner came out, the kid was cool. I made him get like he got this grouper special, comes with mixed vegetables.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I don't want that. I don't want French fries." I'm like, "You should get the vegetables and the fries on the side." He's like, "Vegetables are for losers." I was like, "I eat a lot of vegetables. Look at me," and like he kind of just went.
Wow.
He was a scrawny little kid. He was probably 16, but maybe 15, 16.
But you had to have been killing with the rest of the crowd for
yeah.
you to continually
the girl
do
that
that.
wanted nothing to do with him was loving everything. Her and his mother were my audience. Because they were both like,
my favorite thing about a group where one person doesn't take a shine to you or doesn't like what you do, but the rest of them do.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm about to roast this motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
As much as
once I started screwing with them, and they were like, "Wow!"
If you get 2 laughs out of them for roasting someone in their group,
you can do whatever you want to.
Anything you say, it's just like I'm sure like a stand-up comedian. If their first 5 minutes goes well,
the next,
they can kind of fucking do whatever they
want. You
want.
can float a shit joke here and there.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because when I listen to fucking like certain comedians, like if it's immediately like. Like he could say any
good story will suck you in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the story of Temple Grandin. Sucked me in.
So all right. So let's talk about it for a segment because I love the movie. So you actually watched it last night.
I did. I was curious about it. We looked into it during the break last week. I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this. And so my grandfather was an agronomist and soil sciences, did a lot with cows and agriculture. So I was like, I could get some interest in this.
Sure.
I look at the cast: Kathy Bates, Claire Danes. I can't remember the guy who
it's
played
an HBO movie production.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's 11 years old. And then I look at the awards.
I didn't know it's that old, yeah.
Dude. 5 Golden Globe nominations, 3 winners.
Really?
Danes won Best TV Movie Actress. Like, they won a ton of awards.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so
I just like the movie. Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get into it. So I want to know how you stumbled across this.
It was just, it popped, like when you're watching HBO or whatever, but it popped up on, I saw it on like network TV one time. It was like, like it came on like late night on like TNT or some random shit like that. And I caught like a piece of it. And I was like, Claire Danes is doing. I was like, this is a hard role. It's like
you
Gilbert
can't
Grape.
do that.
Yeah, it's like a Gilbert Grape type thing. I was like,
yeah. You don't ever go full.
You can't go full
R-word.
retard.
Yeah, you don't get full TikTok.
So I was like, this is interesting, you know, and I caught it right at the part where she was like visualizing the
cow circle thing.
The cow circle thing. So I was like, oh, so I literally think I went to fucking like a Blockbuster and rented it or like a fucking movie gallery or something and rented it. You know what I mean?
It was 2010.
Wherever the fuck.
It was like a long time ago, doesn't it? But it was a
very
good movie. I only cried 4 fucking times.
Yeah.
4 times.
You went in thinking like just based off my impression.
Your impression made me think it was going to be like semi-comedy, and it is not a comedy. I was not prepared for this at all emotionally. I was like, oh my God, I think of my grandfather who just passed away a few weeks ago. I'm losing it. I'm like, oh God, like there was like moments like tears legit running down my face, and I'm like, am I crying this hard at this movie about this lady who's like, hi, I'm Temple Grandin, because she yells at you, and then like you underplayed how much she uses the hug box. Like she builds this hug box for herself. She used the one at the farm. She goes to college. She can't get cozy. She fucking saws this shit up, puts it in her room and builds it. And then like her new roommate comes in and sees it. They think it's a sex machine, so they take it from her, and she's freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, why are you doing this to her? Every moment. And she's super autistic. A lot of autistic people don't want to be touched, right? They don't want that. So her mother, who does everything. Yeah, it's like it's a hug from a machine.
When you don't like people touching.
Yeah, when you don't like people touching you, it's like a real hug. You feel good. She does an experiment. She does a legit experiment with a control group where she has people come in her room and she puts them in the machine to prove to the staff of the goddamn college
to let her have
that
it.
she can have it. I was like, and it's someone who's got some science degrees. I was like, there you go, girl, with the control group, everything. It was great. She was constantly disproving the haters. It was awesome.
I didn't know.
And then at the end of the movie, her like teacher idol, science teacher guy that really believed in her and kept her in boarding schools, who she would go to and issues. His funeral, when things died, she was like, where do they go? And she was over it immediately. But with him, her mom's like, this is what we do. So she like takes off one of her like cow pins, puts it on him, and when she leaves the funeral, she lets her mom give her a hug. And I'm like, oh, there I go again. And that was full on like, I'm like, come here, dog. I'm hugging Dooley. I'm like, this is so sad.
I'm so glad you went through that emotional
It was great,
journey.
but I went from.
You weren't ready though.
I went from playing video games. I was playing a Star Wars video game for like 2 hours. I'm stoned as shit. It's Sunday afternoon. I've been eating
Were you hungover from Saturday too?
Yeah, I was a little hungover from Saturday too. Stayed up a little later than I wanted to drinking, so I'm a little hungover, which makes me more emotional and makes most people more emotional. And I was like, I ate an edible. I was like, I'll turn on Temple Grandin in like 45 minutes. Nice little indica edible. And I'm like, it was rough. I was like sweat crying. It was bad.
Because
I don't mind crying, man. I'll cry if I have to. I cry during movies more than I ever have, but you know.
I cried during Gladiator one time because I was hungover and it was late at night.
At the India Guardians 2, when they play father and son, I only have one parent left. Every time they play that song, I'm like.
No matter how many times you see
I've seen the movie 15 times, and every time they do like the little fireworks thing, I'm like, oh. I don't know what, dude. As soon as my mom got sick, I started getting more and more tearful at stuff. And now, as soon as my mom died,
now it's like
it doesn't take much.
Waterworks.
I'll cry happiness tears sometimes. I cried during Avengers Endgame 4 times. Only one thing is sad in that movie when Tony Stark dies. Spoiler alert. Sorry, if you haven't seen it, you suck. But like, there's exciting moments when the movie happened. I'm like, so just tears of excitement. I'm like, what is happening to me?
I cried at the end of Great British Baking Show one time.
Okay, that's lame then.
Not really.
Did somebody drop their cupcakes?
Not really, because when you're invested in all these characters,
that's true.
And then they get down to the final 3, and the last 3 are still all rooting for each other.
Yeah, you did say that. It's pretty nice.
And so when the guy was like, I'm so happy for her. She really deserved this one. And I was just like, these people are so nice to each other. You know, it's like, it's sort of idyllic.
American Baking Show, they'd be like, fuck her.
Yeah, think of every like American like show where someone gets voted off each week or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Tracy's such a fucking bitch. You know,
road rules.
It's yeah, right, exactly. So I got this buddy, and we won't mention his name, but he lives down here, and this is the best because last night he's asked me this twice. He's like, "Hey man, when you gonna feature me on the podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like feature me on the podcast."
Is this me?
Close. You'll know who it is.
I'm almost positive who it is.
Yeah. You'll know who it is at the break. So I was like, yeah, man, episode 50 or something, you know? And he goes, what is it, like episode about 49 right now? I'm like, no, no, we're not close.
3 hours to be at my house.
So, yeah, so, so this is like Saturday or whatever. And I'm at the outside bar. And I think one of the worst things that could ever happen to someone, I think, is when someone tells you to kick rocks and get the fuck out or leave or whatever. And a number of people...
Oh, yeah.
Give a round of applause.
Oh, I've seen it happen.
Because this dude wouldn't shut the fuck up with this other dude. So I'm working back there. And finally, I was like, y'all fucking stop talking to each other.
This is the guy that has to be on the podcast?
Yeah.
I know who it is now.
Yeah. I told them, stop talking to look, whatever y'all's fucking thing is. He's like, I've been here since 10:45 this morning. I was like, that's the fucking problem, number one. But I was like...
Should have left with Herbert.
I was like, y'all should... Herbert L. Frobe, whatever the fuck his name was. So I was like, y'all just stop fucking talking to each other.
Were they familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then person A would kind of be like, all right, man, I'll go back inside. Person B would go, yeah, motherfucker. You know.
Yeah.
And I was like, stop. I was like, look, I'm on your side right now because you're just sitting here trying to chill and he keeps coming out and fucking with you. But if you fucking call after him again.
Then I'm on his side.
Then then I'm fuck both of y'all. Right. So finally, like, it comes to a point. I'm like, you got, you know, Stephanie that works inside came out. She goes, listen here, motherfucker. Like, she put on like the Stephanie shit.
Stephanie mom voice? Oh.
Stephanie mom voice.
I'm scared for him right now.
Motherfucker's out. There's like 3 people that I'd never seen before. They're like, ooh, they got Stephanie mad. Something's fucked up. I was like, who the fuck are you? Do you even know Stephanie? I was like, so her wrath must fucking.
Yeah. Because she's so sweet that when she gets mad at you,
when it's time to fucking snap, it's time to snap, dude.
She's only got mad at me one time. It was just like one sentence, and I was like,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Why am I not attention? I don't know what I'm doing here. Can I go back to parade rest?
So the motherfucker was walking out, and I got like 8 people like,
oh, that's the worst feeling in the world.
Think about that, getting applauded.
And he's been thrown out of the bar more than once in his life.
I mean, I don't even know if he's been like thrown out. He's been told to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could tell him to be in the podcast and you can go 1 year without getting asked to leave or cut off.
I'll put a caveat on it and be like, all right, if I don't cut you off in the next 6 months, then you
and I can understand everything you say all night for 20 appearances in a row.
I'm really glad that Temple Grandin touched you. I didn't necessarily expect that. I just forget how heart wrenching some of that shit is,
dude. I mean, and I love all the engineering
because she doesn't know how,
it.
but she could. There's no way that she could explain anything.
She literally does
to
yell
anyone.
at you the entire time now. She's like, you can't do that.
Well, when they die, they just go on the ground. It's just like a cow. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
She's like, she's more concerned with the animals, and she don't give a shit about people. But she's like,
but even when the animals, she knows that the animals are meant to die.
When the horse died, she was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
They were like, don't go over there. She's like, it's fine. Where does it go?
Right.
She was just confused about what happens next.
Yeah.
But she's so matter of fact.
Right. Exactly.
I can appreciate the mathematical nature of that kind of.
And maybe that's a blessing in a way that you don't have to think about like the fucking.
Oh, then at the end when she's talking at the autism convention in like 1981, and she starts discussing being autistic, and they're like, how old's your child? She goes, I don't have a child. I'm autistic. And they're like, they bring her the microphone. They're like, will you talk to us? And then she like goes through another door and becomes the spokesman for autism too. I'm like, this woman is a freaking amazing human, and she's still alive.
Yeah, I think the actual Temple Grandin was in the crowd. Like, she made a cameo in the crowd during that part or something like that.
I didn't hear her.
Yeah.
You made me cry too many times, Temple.
Well, now that we're out of our first cocktail, so we'll continue the Temple podcast.
I'm going to cry when
Temple Grandin podcast after this. We'll see you in a minute.
Behind the bovine cast.
And welcome back to From Behind the Bovine Cast.
Behind the bovine. I didn't cry in the break.
First time ever. Yeah. Well done this week, Clint.
Hey, well, we'll see if the quarter has wings later. I might be crying then.
So we were recording on a Monday, August 9th, and I just want to do some little self-promotion here. I have a show coming up at the Tybee Post Theater on Thursday, August 19th, and I will be hosting sort of like a fake late night show, only it's at 8 p.m., so it's not actually late night. But essentially what it is, I come on and do a monologue just like any late night host would do, and then I introduce a band. Once the band's done, I interview them afterwards.
Okay, nice.
Then I do another couple minutes between, then I introduce the second band, and then that closes out the show.
This is when now?
August 19th. It is a Thursday, and it's at the Tybee Post Theater. You can go to the Tybee Post Theater website to buy the tickets. They're $15 per person, and we've already sold a bunch, and this is my first day advertising it because I've been waiting for promotional materials. They didn't put my picture on the poster. Or barely mention my name. So I was like, hey, guys, not for nothing, but I am hosting this fucking thing.
I'd like to be a part of this somehow, you know?
Well, I just didn't have any materials to promote with on like social media and shit like that. You know what I mean?
You need something, especially if they're not sold out. You want something.
So I put up the fucking poster that they already had today with like barely any mention of me on it. But that's okay. I'm not vain. I'm not.
No, not at all.
No, I don't know if it seems that way or not. But yes, and also
a larger font for your name.
So with the saga of the Venmo and now I guess the fucking so that all right. So shout out to my boy Donnie. He sent me a picture. It was like we're getting married. Buy me a drink at Venmo. Da 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 da. But I fucking he sent me the picture through Instagram because I was gonna put him on blast. But now the photo disappeared in the messenger, so I can't. And then I should have wrote down the fucking name.
And I saw one a friend of mine posted on Snapchat that had it was like a business card at a bar, like set up like at the end of the booth. It looked like it was at Pinky's or something, and it was like buy the bride a drink with a QR code.
Now I meant to ask you this earlier when you told me that. Were they there while they were doing it?
No, he was sitting in a booth.
No, I mean like. All right, so
was the bride in the room?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I didn't ask.
See, because all right,
because he thought it was cool, and I made fun of him for it.
Yeah, because when you showed me the picture of it, his like caption was "dope idea, bro" or something like that.
I was like lame.
Yeah,
I was like,
now if I were like, let's say I was a bride, you know, or a bridesmaid, whatever, I could be either.
You could be either. Hey, it's 2021.
And I was out on like a party or whatever, and if you brought out like a thing while you were at the party.
Yeah.
So that people would be like, "Oh, you're getting married," and they could, instead of having to be like, "Well, let me go grab you a drink or whatever."
Yeah, they could just QR you a drink for later.
That would be fine, but like leaving it there for posterity.
Yeah,
like when are they getting married?
I hope someone sent it to her in 2 years when she's divorced. Just like, oh, Jimmy cheated.
So
on
glad
me.
you guys are so happy.
Yeah. How was the dry hand job?
Here's to lifelong love.
Forever and ever.
Lifelong unconditional love. Cheers to that.
I hope your relationship is the bee's knees. Oh, I tell you what, this honey is good.
So, I think it tastes worth every 120 of those fucking dollars that we didn't pay for it. Anyways, so just like the military lady, I'm at the store going to work the other day, and there's this guy. He kind of looks like every redneck dad you've ever seen.
Okay.
I took a photo of him. I'll put it up.
Cargo shorts?
Cargo shorts, 100%.
Cargo shorts. All right,
New Balance shoes, maybe Skechers.
Maybe Skechers, yeah.
Balding white dude.
Mm-hmm. Attitude, probably.
Yeah, definite bad attitude. So at the store that I was at, it's a convenience store, but they also they have a little side hustle sort of thing where they make like sandwich, like the sandwiches that you rip open or whatever.
Yeah, where they're split and they're triangles.
They're already triangled.
Yeah.
They have subs and shit like that too, whatever. But they're all pre-made and in packaging, and they're all very plainly visible
and well labeled.
Well labeled. So this guy's walking back and forth, and the lady's like, "Sir, just go down there and tell me what you want. I'll go grab it." He goes, "Well, I can't see none of the labels. I don't know what y'all got in there." So it starts turning into this thing. She's like, "What can't you see?" And he goes, "Well, what's that?" And she was like, "It's chicken salad."
Yeah, it's next to all the other chicken salads.
It turns out there was one that wasn't turned. Like so they had taken one out and didn't turn the other one, which was like tuna on toast or whatever.
Which could have been the magical sandwich he knew he wanted.
Right, but it wasn't. Turns out he went and got a
goddamn
goddamn
with $120 honey on it.
Yeah. This fucking piece of shit went and got a fucking bologna and cheese sandwich, right? So he's up at the counter, and he's got his buddy with him, and they've got two like 32-ounce tall boy like fucking Bud Ices or something. They got two seltzers, an array of snacks and food, and like blunt wraps and fucking whatever. Old white dudes. So they ring it all up, and he's like EBT, and the lady's like, well, she's like, you can't pay for the beer with the EBT.
Yeah, you can't buy alcohol or tobacco with EBT.
So they got to start splitting all this shit up. So the dude's continually trying to stick his EBT card into the credit card machine, and she's like, sir, there's a different machine for that.
Yeah,
and he would not fucking let it go. He was like, why? Why is there another machine? She was like, because there
Like
fucking
it's his
is.
first day using EBT.
Because there fucking is another machine. I don't know what to fucking tell you. And you know it wasn't his friend. If you're that quick on the draw with your fucking EBT.
Yeah, yeah.
So they ended up having to split all this fucking shit up, whatever. And literally, I'm getting cigarettes before I go to work. I was 5 minutes late for work
Because of
this.
Because of Jethro.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm starting to fucking fume, whatever. So I'm right behind him in line. I get my cigarettes and I walk out to go to work. This motherfucker's driving off in a Lexus.
Good God.
I was like, I know. Look, game the system. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, within reason, you know.
because you were talking about like during the pandemic, you know, like I got some stimulus, so
Yeah.
but seriously, like people would be like, maybe I should get on some EBT,
Yeah.
you know, if.
Yeah, it was especially before you knew what was going to go down. Like, you know, people apply for stuff and they were like, oh, I don't need it, you know, all
Right,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. But like, not to be just rocking it, just
Because.
and you're at the beach too, like you're
out there partying.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
He didn't come out here just to go to
Yeah.
Choose to buy his
And see, there's
beef jerky.
There's some fucking lady somewhere who fucking accidentally or who fucked up and married the wrong guy because she got pregnant. She's got 3 kids.
It's probably that guy.
And he whooped her. Yeah, exactly. He fucking whooped her ass. You know, fucking domestic. Leaves. She's got to take care of them fucking 3 kids. And you can
Yeah.
only work so much when you have 3 fucking kids
Right.
and no one else to help you take care of them. And then it's that motherfucker that probably beat her up driving
off in the Lexus,
driving
like,
away in the fucking Lexus, dude.
Saving that's probably his car payment because I mean Alexis has got to be at least $300 or $400 a month. And
I
know
would
you get
think, yeah.
pretty good chunk of change on the EBT.
It might be hers.
It might be
you
hers.
think-
Damn,
you
he
know
stole
what
her
I'm
car too.
Yeah.
Whooped her ass, took the car.
Because the thing was, as redneck and like fucking shitty as this dude was, he had the most flamboyantly gay dude with him. I was like, this is a weird This is a weird group
That is a weird group. You know, you don't see a lot of like super rednecky guys.
with ultra flamboyant gay dudes.
Yeah, was Alexis like covered in mud?
No, see, the thing was, it was like probably a mid 2010s Lexus like SUV.
Those aren't cheap.
Those aren't cheap.
You can't buy them with an EBT
You
card.
cannot.
I don't think. He was like at the
He was at the
dealership.
dealership. Y'all
EBT?
take EBT.
They're like, it's a different machine. The machine's
They go,
outside the
yeah,
store.
no,
and
they go,
lock
yeah, the vending machine.
yeah, they lock you out, and they're like, all right, you stay out there, Jeb. Enjoy yourself.
Well, after the break, you always know what time it is. It's time for the Karen or Darren.
Shit.
It's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week.
Shit.
Well, this week's Karen is brought to you by Grant Nelson at eharmony.com. That's right. You can sponsor the Karen of the week for, not a lot. Just contact us. We'll talk to you about it.
Send
this
us a
week.
DM and
Send us a DM.
we'll
There's a little
shout
bit
you
of
out for the
Venmo. We'll
Karen.
shout you out. So shout out to my boy Grant Nelson. He's on eHarmony. No kids, no fat chicks. Also might be on Farmers Only. Check him out there too.
I think he got on Farmers Only because he watched Temple Grandin.
He did.
and
He
He
wants some of
fell
that.
in love with the idea.
He wants some of that sweet Temple Grandin. And he, good guy. Just needs love. He's an artist.
She's like, I've
Handsome
really
man.
been working my Kegels here lately.
I got that machine that squeezes me, and I'll squeeze you.
I've got a hug machine in my uterus.
You know what? I'm in now. So, Grant, I hope you find your temple.
Yeah, I hope everyone finds it.
thank-
I hope everyone finds their
Grant,
Temple
thanks for
Grandin.
being you've been a dedicated listener since my week 1. So
So I think you're
he's in New Orleans, by the way.
Lots of farms.
So,
I think my your Karen's gonna be more epic than my Darren, and my Darren, it could have been the fucking EBT store guy, but that would have been cheating because I wasn't the one servicing him.
Right,
It was
right.
the gay guy with him.
well, somebody was getting service in the Lexus.
But so mine is this guy comes in literally. Oh yeah, it was last night.
Last night. All right, that's a good Sunday, Darren.
Sunday Darren. And so he comes up. It's super fucking nice. Like very affable, whatever. He came up, he was like, let me get 2 shots of this, 2 beers, whatever. All right, it's $12. You want to keep it open or close out? He's like, close out. I'm going to go soon. I was like, cool. Comes back, he's having a good time. He's like, let me get 3 of those shots and 3 of those beers. All right, you want to keep it open or run it? He's like, go ahead and run it. All right.
Not going to be here long, till I need
Not
the
gonna be here
4.
Run it again. I don't, and see, like, At this point, I don't mind just going ahead and running people's tabs because, like, so many people leave their goddamn credit cards up there. Anyways.
Well, and then you're
like,
done with them. If they,
and that,
if they
I
just
mean, you're
dip,
done.
they're
Well, you think? I mean, sometimes you're fucking done. So he closes out probably like 4 times, right?
Tip
within like, yeah, he tipped well, yeah. Within like an hour, right? So we've got a rapport going. He doesn't seem like wasted or anything like that. So he comes back and he was like, hey, can I get this and that? I was like, hey, man, I'll just start running you a tab. I don't need your card. I'll just fucking put it in the book. Like, fucking, he ordered food too.
Yeah, so you think he's not going to dip on the food.
So, like, we fucking, you know, like, he doesn't get a whole lot more, but we're sitting there fucking chit-chatting, whatever. We get a little bit busy. He's got about a fucking $30-ish tab now, which he's already spent like 50 probably over all the times he fucking closes out. And like, I blink for a fucking second. I'm like, where the fuck did this dude go? He just fucking dipped on his last fucking tab.
Damn.
And I was like, man, the one time, like, because normally I'd be like, if I don't know you.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this dude obviously, like, he's not unwilling to pay. You know what I mean?
I mean, and technically, you probably could go back through the system and find his card
yeah,
if you really needed
I
to.
guess, yeah, but
it'd
fucking,
be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it'd be but I eat that shit all the fucking time, whatever. But I was just like, fuck it. Like, as soon as you give it, I was just like, and it wasn't because he was wasted. You know what I mean? Like, he was coming up and getting a lot of drinks, but he was buying them
for other people.
Yeah, so if I'd have had the inkling that he was, like, fucked up and was going to be like, oh, I forgot to pay him out. This was like...
Like, it was malicious. Like, you turned around, like, you went and you did a little quick cigarette.
This is
you
like...
come back and, like,
this is like
his spot's been cleaned off.
This is, like, purposeful. Yeah. I was like, man...
That's a Darren... double Darren move right there.
It's just like the Darren the other week where it's like, oh, someone did it, the same Darren-ish thing last night. They were like, hey, can I get this, this, and this? And I was like, it's $14. And they give me a giant wad of cash. It's all like ones and shit or whatever.
It's like it was in their titty or something?
Yeah, so, I mean, it was just like whatever was left in their pockets from fucking buying crack or whatever. So he hands me this giant wad of cash. He's like, just keep it. And it was literally...
the exact amount of money?
The exact amount. And I know that he knew that it was either less or more.
Yeah, so did he wait to find out?
No.
He's just like, here you go.
Here
Thanks.
you go. Keep it all. Yeah. I was like, yeah. But I was glad to be rid of him. Any fucking
Sometimes you got to get rid of a Karen.
And then this other fucking girl, she goes... She comes up to get a drink, or 2 drinks. It was $7. And she hands me some ones. And she goes, count that, make sure it's 7. And I was like, okay. So I counted. I was like, it's 7. She goes, okay, good, thank you.
She wanted to be sure.
Wanted to be sure that she didn't tip me. Not that it wasn't enough.
If you said it's 8, she'd have been like, all right. Would you give it back?
I wouldn't have.
I wouldn't either. I'd be like, nah.
I'd have been like, oh shit, you know what? Happy hour just ended at fucking 9.
That happy hour, I can work any day of the week, any time. 1 a.m. Like, all right, that's fine.
I've done that to so many people. They're like, well, wait a minute, it was $3 last time I got it. I was like, yeah, that was happy hour.
Yeah, man. Happy hour comes and goes at my leisure.
We've never had a happy hour the entire time I've worked at Pooh's or since its existence.
So speaking of Karens you wanted to kick out, I had to cut down the amount of foul language I wrote down for this fucking cunt bag Karen. And that's me just calling her a fucking cunt bag is lackluster compared to how this woman behaves. I did a little preview on the Instagram story yesterday, just to like get a little bit of it out.
And this is the one that you mentioned to me about taking the glass of wine away?
Yes, I did take her glass of wine away.
I'm glad I'm hearing this
now.
raw.
So I waited on this woman another time. I didn't realize it. I'm just gonna start at the beginning.
Sure.
So they come in and I have a 6 top. I have the section that gets the most large tables. I got a 6 top. It's gonna turn into another 6 top. They're a 6 o'clock 6 top. They show up about on time. 4 of them, 3 ladies, 1 guy, and I walk up the table and there's 2 purses in the chair in front of me and a big overnight bag for a 7-day stay in the other chair, and that's next to eventual Karen. And I'm like, oh, the other 2 on the way, and they're like, oh no, they're not coming. And one of her friends goes, we just make an extra reservation for our bags. And I'm like, huh? And the Karen nudges her and is like, shh. So she had made a reservation for purses. She took a chair and said we needed 6 and they needed 4 so the girls could put their purses in the chairs. I'm not happy about this, but I'm like, whatever.
Instead of putting them on the floor?
On the floor, or not bringing, I mean, the Karen's bag was, I mean, it was a pony keg. It was a pony keg. It was enormous. So I'm like, whatever. So I proceed to wait on them. Karen's a little off some, but everyone's pretty much okay. Now they've already had a round at the bar. Karen has 4 glasses with me at the table. Everybody does. The other 2 girls split 2 bottles of wine. They're getting a little lit. That's fine.
Were they eating?
They ate
Okay.
2 courses. They asked me to tell them a ghost story. I do not like telling ghost stories. I'm not a strong believer in ghosts. I'm a science guy.
Yeah, and I don't give a fuck about telling you a stupid
but
goddamn
our building's
story.
from 1875-ish. So there was a seance done there when they first bought the place.
Had they heard about like there being?
Yeah,
like,
because there was a seance done there like 14 years ago to rid the place of spirits. Whatever.
So they knew about that. That's
Kinda,
why.
yeah.
That's why they were asking.
So I sit down and I tell them the story, and I have this. This is the same stock story I tell everybody.
You didn't sit in one of their handbag chairs.
I asked them to move their bags and sat down in that chair. I didn't ask Karen to move her bag because it probably weighed too much. So I tell them a 5-minute ghost story. Now 5 minutes on a busy Wednesday night or Thursday night is a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
I knew I had my other tables kind of stabilized so I could tell this story. And I tell the story, and then I tell them about how I used to like scare one of the owners sometimes at night. Because on Fridays, I used to work downstairs. We'd close a little early because it was rug nights. We'd flip the rugs and the tables. So they'd turn all the lights off. And so the owner would always come down. They'd always come in on Fridays. And the bigger guy, Donald, would always come downstairs to go check out the kitchen. So I would hide in like the wine cellar. And Donald would come through and shake the gate and go, Donald! And scare the fucking shit out of Donald. And I did it 9 times out of like 15 weeks. I got him every time. Now, Donald's a big guy. You got to wait for Donald to get down the stairs before you scare him. You don't want to be carrying him back up the stairs when you go down. He's not fat. He looks like Steven Seagal, but taller. He's a big dude. Less karate. Maybe the same karate. I don't know what Steven Seagal's doing.
Probably the same karate. It does.
Steven Seagal does karate from a chair now. So I tell him the story, and the 2 women and the guy are dying laughing. And Karen's not laughing that much. And I'm looking at Karen in the eye that's not laughing. And I realize Karen's got this little lazy eye thing going on. I'm like, where do I know this lazy eye from? And I kind of pause. And I'm like, all right. So I go back. So I get done telling the story, whatever. I go back to the hostess stand, and you can look up on our reservation book when someone's come in before. We've had a new computer system for 2 years, so it has logged every reservation
since
that person has made over the last 2 years. She's had 3. 1 was a cancellation. 1 I waited on July 6th. Reservation 6 top. Party 5.
1 for the handbag.
1 for the handbag. And it was her and 4 men. Because I went back in the computer and looked up the damn date and the damn check to see what everybody ate and drank. And it was 4 men and 1 woman. And she asked for the check tonight, and she'd asked for the check that time. And that I recognized that lazy ass eye from that shitty ass tip she gave me.
Right.
The first time. And I'm like, that's right, because my tip the first time was 12%. And I'm like, I don't give 12% service. And
the handbag would have tipped me more than fucking
exactly.
12%.
I could have taken that handbag out. And usually if there's 6, if you make a reservation for 6, you show up with 5, I'm gonna throw the grad on there if I'm questionable because you made it for 6, you got the chair. So I don't grat them because they all laughed at my story, but Karen.
Right.
When I bring the check, she snatches that check. She grabs the check. And I'm like, all right, it's now 7:55, 8 o'clock. My next table's at 8:30. She pays out, whatever. I usually don't. I grab the check before people leave because if they tip me like shit, I want to come by and give them a little stare. So I go, look, $335 bill, $33 tip. She 10% of
10%.
Now so I tip out 3% of my sales. So I'm getting a 7% tip now, and so I'm upset, and I'm like, damn, what a bitch. I knew recognized her from somewhere, so I'm. All right, so I walk back by. I'm a little colder, and she's like, "Hey, take our picture." And I'm like, "All right, I'll take your picture, but guys, I got a table waiting in the bar, so I'll take your picture if you'll go back to the bar and finish your drinks. Y'all can hang out there as long as you want. I got an open table for you."
You're still being fucking diplomatic at that point.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
But I want them out.
That's pretty impressive.
The table was not waiting in the bar, but I wanted her out of my fucking section. She gets a little perturbed by that. The other 3 are like, "Oh, it's fine. Yeah, we'll do that and go." So I take, like I said before, I take a lot of pictures. Give the phone back. I walk away. She goes, "I'm going to finish my glass of wine. He can't tell us to leave." And I hear her. She says this so I can hear her. So I'm like, all right. So what I do in this situation usually is like, if your water glass runs out, I take it. I'm not giving you any more water. I'm drying you out so you'll get the hell out of my section. This has been working for 20 years. This is how it works. If you don't know, you dry your tables out when you want them to go.
Yeah.
So I go back over there, and Karen's glass of red wine has it's got a half a sip in it. And I pick it up. And I turn around, and she goes, "He took my wine," and I casually dump that little bit of wine out and go, "There's no wine in here, Karen." And I call her Karen, and no one hears me. And my coworker pulls my shirt and goes, "Quit.
Out.
Come on, go to the back. So I go to the back, and my coworker, she's managing the night. She's not the manager. She's just managing because the manager's gone.
Yeah.
She's like, it's fine. And I'm like, here's the tip. And she's like, it is not fine. I'm like, it's not fine. Not fine. And so I'm upset, and like the chef sees me. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, look, I don't talk about money with you guys, but just know this lady has screwed me.
Yeah,
she made a reservation for her purse. And
yeah.
chef's like, she can't do that. So she gets up. She wants to talk to the man. They hang out for 30 more minutes. I told them I had an 8:30 table. They hang out till 8:30. Thank God the other table was late, and the other table wasn't great, but it doesn't matter. It's the principle that matters.
Yeah, sure.
She has to talk. She grabs a guy, James, who looks very nice. Are you the manager? He goes, no, I'll get her. So goes and gets Allison.
So Karen was looking for a manager.
That's
Karen, weird. That's crazy.
Weird. It's odd.
That's
you don't
crazy.
think of
That's
Karen.
really crazy.
Karen and managers don't usually.
That's really crazy. Huh.
So she goes to the door to talk to the manager, Allison, and Allison's like, And Allison's seen her. I've told her the whole story.
And Allison's already known.
She knows everything what's going on.
Gotcha.
Allison's my girl. She's got my back. She's a nice person, and she goes, Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe that. She's like, he was so rude the whole time. And Allison goes, well, I remember y'all laughing really loud at something he was telling you, like a story or something. It was like 5 minutes, right? She's like, well, I mean, other than that. She's like, well, was anything messed up? And she's like, well, no. Well, when was he rude? Well, just at the end. Oh, okay. Well, I'm so sorry. So I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I go over there. I take the owner, Donald's card, and go, why don't you call him and complain about this?
Yes.
Because she goes, oh, I will. She goes, I come here all the time. And I'm like, I checked the books. You've been here 3 times in 2 years. You don't call her, come all the time. She's like, oh, I'm calling him right now. So she walks outside. She's like, I'm never coming back. I'm like,
please, God.
And I throw the deuces up. I'm like, that's fine. Owners come in 30 minutes later, and I'm like, hey, guys.
What's up?
Here's what's going on.
Yeah.
I tell them the story, and the other owner, Jeff, goes, oh, she wants to do that. Next time she comes in, $50 a chair. They don't show up, $50 a chair, or we can break a table down and give them a 4-top. And I was like, I love you guys so much. And Donald goes, you should have given her my card. I'm like, I did. He goes, I hope she calls me. I'll tell her never to come back in here again. And I was like, I fucking
So she
love
didn't go out and call right
she
now.
She didn't call anybody. Well, he's got a landline because he's in his 60s. So she might have left a message. But I hadn't heard anything from him, and he would call me to be like, because he's got my back, and he would have let me know.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to tell me a story that had nothing to do with Karen that I'm going to tell you that's going to make you laugh. They had a soccer player come into our sister restaurant, La Scala. They tell me this story, and I'm not a huge soccer fan.
Like a big famous one?
A famous soccer player that was here to get his G5 or G8 or whatever his plane fixed.
Oh, of course.
Comes to La Scala, best Italian food he's had outside of Italy. Raves and raves. He makes $300 million a year. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me get one of our soccer fan employees over here to hear story. And I hear Messi from the other room, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, Messi. And they're like, I guess. I'm like, he's the LeBron James of soccer.
Literally.
He's the most important athlete in the world.
He's the fucking Michael Jordan plus LeBron James plus.
So I go tell Marco, shout out Marco again, our sous chef. And Marco's like, fucking. So like those that know are losing their mind.
Yeah.
Well, they had told James, who confirmed that it might have been Messi. And they're like, do y'all have a picture? They're like, oh, the chef's got on his phone. I'm like, I need to see this picture. And they're like, yeah, I'm like, if it's him, post it. But let one of us see it first.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Detective James, between Thursday and Friday or Wednesday to Thursday, whatever day, at 1:30 in the morning is like, it's not Messi. Here are his whereabouts for the last week. And had gone back through his social media and figured out everywhere Messi was. And then I think about it and go, Messi doesn't take his plane to get fixed. Messi doesn't even talk to the guy that takes his plane to get fixed.
Messi doesn't even talk to the fucking assistant that talks to the assistant to get
And like these guys don't know.
Who did it turn out to be?
I don't know yet. We haven't seen the picture yet. I'm assuming it was either like some B-grade soccer player or somebody was just having fun with them because they just didn't know. But the new chef there is from Sicily. Like he's super Italian. He's been here for like 15 years.
Okay, so
I would assume he would know.
So does he think that the soccer player was possibly Italian?
They didn't know who any soccer players were. They knew who. Guess which 2 soccer players these mid-60s gay men knew who were?
Pele?
Pele? There's one. There's an easy one on that one.
Damn. The guy with the beard that used to play for the U.S. Lolly?
No. David Beckham.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, he's so handsome.
Fuck?
He's so handsome.
Funny you're talking about soccer and LeBron James at the same time.
Whoa.
I saw on Reddit today. So Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a really great footballer, but he's has just as big of a fucking ego as he does a foot. You know what I mean? Like the motherfucker, he goes, practice doesn't start until Zlatan shows up to practice. Because he was in like an interview one time.
This is like Allen Iverson.
And they were like, shouldn't you be off to practice? He goes, training doesn't start until Zlatan is there.
I like the third person. Like
he speaks to as in third person. So he played for the LA Galaxy for a little bit, for like a year or whatever. His first goal in the MLS was like a 40-yarder, a bomb.
Dang. I think I remember this.
Yeah, it literally.
It went right over the goalie's fingers. Yep, I remember that.
First game, I mean, literally, like, and I was like, it couldn't have happened to a worse dude. And it's like, so anyways, so LeBron James wants to welcome Zlatan Ibrahimovic to LA. So he sends him a jersey, a LeBron Lakers jersey.
Oh,
right?
Yeah?
Zlatan signed it and sent it
back.
back.
Oh, you gotta love the balls on that move. That is. Oh, I like it. I didn't want to like this guy, but I like him now. Do you think LeBron signed it and sent it back?
Man, I fucking hope he did. If there you go, he wants Zlatan to sign his jersey.
You turn those off.
Yeah. But the tip calculation thing at the end of the Karen story. So you realized that it was fucking.
Yeah, I knew it was 10% immediately because it was exactly 10%. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was like, like you said, it was fucking $133 or whatever. And it was
$333.
$333, so you got a $30 tip, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've been experiencing, and it's happened to me like fucking 3 times in the past couple weeks. In the past week, I meant, sorry. I think it's the honey.
Yeah, making me kind of. My lips are stuck together.
But it's happened to me a few times in the past few weeks where
It makes us gassy. I mean, I usually drink out of a straw. I didn't want to be bougie with a straw.
Not too bougie with our fucking $120 honey. No way we could be bougie.
You gotta drink out of a honeycomb straw.
Literal straw.
We don't touch anything though.
But so it'll be like a like let's say it's between an $11 and a $15 exchange.
Yeah.
And they'll pull out their phone and calculate what 20% of that is. So I'm like,
right.
So for me personally, if I go to a place and I buy something at a bar or whatever, restaurant, whatever, and I buy something that costs between $10 and $15, the 20's coming out if I'm paying with cash.
Right.
The 20's coming out and it's staying out and that's it. You get the 20. If I don't fucking know you, that's if fucking the service was bad, the service was good.
Right, because you don't want 75 cents back.
Yeah, I don't want to be like, let me just get $1 back. You know what I'm saying? And unless I want to like some quarters for a fucking candy machine or something.
Yeah, unless you need them for something like a specific task.
For the fucking meter or something like that, whatever. But I've had so many people, it'd be like a $12 tab, and they're like, all right, let's see. And then they'll write $2 and 76 cents.
Oh yeah.
So I get it. Like, if I had if I was like out of town, I had a really large tab. But for me, like, I'm still like, I still base it off of like, if my tab's 130, I sort of start rounding to the next thing. So I'm like, all right, so if it's 130, 20's 150, 40's 170. Let's do 180.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something round, something even, something, like. But I'm not like, now if I was like kind of broke and I fucked up and I like spent too much money and I was like, oh, it's $280 and, like fucking, I shouldn't have spent all that. I might start trying to calculate what 25% is.
Yeah. You're still going to throw something out there.
Yeah, but.
You'll pick up a shift to cover your stupidity later.
Right, exactly. But still, like, I just find it so strange. Like, and I understand the sentiment of like, they don't want to undertip.
Right.
But also, anything up to like $30 fucking $.
Yeah. Like if your life is that poor that like 70 cents, I always tell people this, $1 is not going to change your life, but $1 makes your server or bartender feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I told my dad used to tip 20% exactly. And I'm like, or my grandmother or somebody, would tip the exact amount. I'm like, look, if you give them an extra $1 that makes that 22, they feel a lot better about what they did And then 20 is like, oh, that's fine. But like, it's just a little bit goes a long way. The person receiving the money versus the person giving the money.
Right. Yeah. And it's so that brings up another interesting thing to me. So I saw a picture the other day on one of like the bartending pages, and it was someone paying for their ticket with cash, and the tip was like around 20%, whatever. Like it was like a proper tip, but you could tell that this person knew the other person, and they wrote him a note. They were like, "Hey, sorry, I ran out of cash, but you were super awesome tonight. The service was great. We really liked you, this and that." And a lot of times people are like, "Oh, don't tip me with oh, thanks for the fucking kind words or whatever."
Yeah.
The tip was still there.
Yeah, which is nice.
But they also were like, "Look."
Oh, I hate when someone shakes my hand. They're like, "Thank you so much. It's amazing." And I get the tip, and I'm like, "Oh, that's 15,
anyone
14,
who
12.
makes a huge deal out of telling you how good you were,
I'm so suspect.
it's all, man. You can almost always guarantee that.
And someone under 60 that wants water with no ice, for whatever reason, that's a sign to me of a bad tipper.
Well, it hurts their old teeth.
Well, or it's like old Asian ladies.
If you put ice in your water, it's like chewing on rocks.
I don't like touching rocks. Just metal rocks.
Rocks smell weird. I don't like them.
So one I hate. I work at an upscale restaurant. My tab, I usually average about $60 a person.
Right.
So when you pay your tab, if I walk by and you're dealing out cash, and I hear the jingle of change, I know things are not.
I haven't heard.
It never goes well. And what I do is if you give me pennies, you know where they're going? In the fucking alley. I will go out in the alley and I will launch pennies. I don't want to carry around any change all night. Now quarters, I gotta suck it up and deal with it. But nickels, pennies, they're gone.
Straight to the alley, motherfucker.
I throw it in the alley, and then I can see if they're there after work, and they never are. Because some homeless guy came by and was like, oop, doop, doop, doop.
You're just
That's fine.
You're just paying it forward, baby.
Just mildly paying it forward. You know, it's for his EB&T.
You know, you've really softened since you watched Temple Grandin.
But the worst thing is, you have a checkbook. It's got the two little sleeves for the checks,
Yep.
and the little top square for the credit card.
Yep.
Fucking idiot morons shove the change into that square.
And then they bust it out like a fucking.
So that one breaks the square, and two, I can't get the change out of there. I gotta bang it on the counter to get the change out.
You start banging.
Yeah, it's not fucking. Look, if you go to a nice restaurant, don't give them any change. They don't want it.
Yeah.
Short me. That's fine. If you're going to tip me 20% exactly with change, I'll take the 19.68% without the change.
Without
I don't
the change,
want anything to do.
Round
with your
down
change.
if you have
and
to.
God forbid if you give me a bunch of Sacagawea dollars, I hate you. I have to carry. I have just my person to carry things on.
Right.
I don't have a place to stick stuff, so I don't have to add weight to my person to even.
I thought they fucking phased those Sacagaweas out.
Well, when they were popular, when they got the new ones out, it was like 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, I
people
guess,
were like, "Hey, look what I've got!" I'm like,
it was such a novelty.
It was, but I don't get it. Like, why would you? Why do you carry? Why are you carrying coins yourself? If it's a woman, you've got your 80-pound Karen bag. That's fine. But you're a dude. What do you have a roll of quarters? In your
But
pocket?
who has fucking? I mean, like, I don't. I've carried cash a lot.
I don't ever have change.
But I don't ever have fucking coins.
Jingle.
Like my car cup holder is full of them.
Yeah. I've got change in my car.
And then I've got a fucking jar in my room.
And now when I go to Wendy's, sometimes I'm like exact amount.
Right? Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Because it's Wendy's.
in my car and it's there.
Yeah.
It's not my goddamn pocket.
No, it's not in my pocket. I'm not walking around with. I don't have a coin purse.
Yeah.
With the two little things that they used to carry cigarettes in back in the day. They're like this long. Somebody was fucking.
I like the
Pall Mall
coin purses
120s.
they used to give you at Kent, where it was like you squeeze them and it was
Yeah.
like a Pac-Man. You know what I'm talking
Those were
about?
pretty cool. You throw the change at the bottom of the pool and go get it.
If you want to pay me in change, as long as you put it in that fucking coin pouch and give it to me,
back in the game.
then
back
you're
in the
all
game.
good. Hey, well, thank you guys for listening this week. This was super fun again.
Been a great week. I just talked to the camera that wasn't there.
That wasn't there. We've been off for a little bit. So at From Behind the Barcast on Instagram. Email us at frombehindthebarcast@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. It's to subscribe on YouTube. It's Paxton Eugene. And anchor.fm/ From Behind the Barcast if you want to leave us a voice message.
If you leave a voice message, I will Venmo you $1 for a dry hand job.
We will Venmo you $1 for every Anchor message that you
know what?
send.
You've got in the next 2 weeks. You get an Anchor message out there that's worthwhile. I don't want no bullshit story.
Yeah. But if it's worthwhile,
yeah. Well, if it gets on the air, and look, we want to put these on.
We
the
want
air.
to put these on the air. We
so
want,
you get it.
We want to hear your story.
In fact, if you want me to put it for a wet hand job, I'll do that.
I'll even go wet hand
Yeah,
job for
I'll
you.
spit on it for you. Let's do this.
Thank you guys. We love you. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye, guys.